Let's look at this inference question from SAT Reading and Writing. The question stem of the inference question will always ask you to most logically complete the text. Please pause the video here, attempt the question, and come back when you're ready with an answer. All right, let's read the passage and understand what it's saying. So it says, Martha colleagues 2010 Mediterranean Sea Biodiversity Census reported approximately 17,000 species, nearly double the number reported in Carlo Bianchi and Carla Morris's 2000 census. So there's a lot of difference, almost double in the number reported in 2000 census and 2010 census. A difference only partly attributable to the description of new invertebrate species in the interim. That's the first reason, but according to the passage, it's only part of the reason. What is the main factor? Which is this. Another factor is that the morphological variability of microorganisms is poorly understood compared to that of vertebrates, invertebrates, plants, and algae, creating uncertainty about how to evaluate microorganisms as species. The main reason here says that the morphological variability, morph means to change shape, and so morphological variability would mean diversity in shape. That is poorly understood as compared to vertebrates, invertebrates, plants, and algae, which creates uncertainty about how to evaluate microorganisms. I know this is the main reason. Researchers' decisions on such matters, therefore, can be highly consequential. Indeed, this is an emphasis word, so it will talk about the same thing that we were talking before. The two censuses reported similar counts of vertebrate, plants, and algal species, suggesting that. Now, if we put the two pieces of information together, we know that in the 2000 and 2010 census, the counts of vertebrate, plants, and algal species were the same, which means the majority of the number or the increase in this number is mainly because of the morphological variability and the fact that it is poorly understood. That is what I have to come to the conclusion. It says suggesting that, which means we are taking information from the passage and arriving at a logical conclusion. Let's look at A. A says, colleagues reported a much higher number of species than Bianchi and Mori did, largely due to the inclusion of invertebrate species. But according to the passage, this point was only part of the reason, right? So we can eliminate A. So I know that the inclusion of invertebrate species was responsible for why 2010 reported more number, but that was only part of the reason, which means the majority of the reason why they reported more number is because of this morphological variability point. Second one says, some differences observed in microorganisms may have been treated as variations within species by Bianchi and Mori, but treated as indicative of distinct species by colleagues. Now, we have the same point, which is difference observed in microorganisms. Bianchi and Mori are treating it as variations within the species, which means let's say a species has three kinds of variations or shapes, they'll still count it as one. They'll say, okay, this is only a part of one species. But it was treated as indicative of distinct species by colleagues. But colleagues would count that as three. That explains the reason, A, that the researchers' decision about how they are treating the morphological variability, the variations of shape, that is highly consequential. And number two, that colleagues are reporting more number because they are treating the shape as indicative of distinct species. B, all the pointers are correct and it matches our prediction as well. So B is the answer. Let's look at options C and D as well. C says Bianchi and Mori may have been less sensitive to the degree of morphological variation displayed within a typical species of microorganisms than colleagues. Option C talks about how Bianchi and Mori may have been less sensitive to the degree of morphological variability displayed within a typical species. That means that Bianchi and Mori, whatever morphological variability there was, Bianchi and Mori still treated it as one species, right? And even colleagues would do that. right? So it's not about being less sensitive. It's more about your decisions and what you decide to do. So C is out because of the reason. D says the absence of clarity regarding how to differentiate among species of microorganisms may have resulted in Cole and colleagues underestimating the number of microorganisms. But Cole and colleagues actually reported a higher number. They didn't underestimate. So D is out.